Hello everybody, happy Thursday. For Theory Thursday today, we're going to practice some rhythmic sight reading. Rhythmic sight reading is great for learning how to read music, and if you ever audition for all-state choir or district honor choir, which you all should do, it's a big portion of the skills for that. So in your Schoology folders, you've got several packets, several years worth of all-state preparation packets. These are great practices, and there's lots of amazing tips on there. So we're going to go over a couple of the tips and then do a couple examples of rhythmic sight reading. So rhythmic sight reading is all about identifying and memorizing patterns. You can learn different variations of how to do rhythms, counting it in numbers, using solfege, coming up with nonsense syllables, whichever makes most sense to you. Stick with it and practice that. Just practice it until you're really good. Once you know how to say a rhythm, it's never going to change. If you are in an audition for All-State, for Honor Choir, for anything else, practice with a metronome before going into the audition. It'll help you practice sticking with a steady beat. Another way to help keep a steady beat is to tap your toe or pat your thigh or pat your shoulder as reference so that you can find where that steady beat is. In the auditions, you'll have 30 seconds to practice before you have to actually do the full sight reading. Use that full 30 seconds. You might think that sounds like a short amount of time, but sometimes you might get through your practice in 10 seconds, think, oh, I've got it. Use the rest of the 20 seconds. Practice it again and again. If you have a busy 16th, 8th note pattern followed by a note value with a longer duration, so if you have a tricky rhythm followed by a longer rhythm, make sure that longer note is held full duration. It's going to feel like it's going to last forever. And then the last tip, if the exercise ends with a long rhythmic value that goes through beat 4, don't cut off early. Make sure that you hold it full duration through the end of the measure. For example, if your last measure has 2 quarter notes and a half note, you would want to make sure to say 1, 2, 3, and then cut off. Hold it all the way. If you say 1, 2, 3, you actually made that third beat just a quarter note instead of a half note, and then you'd lose points. All right, so you can go read all of these other tips on here, but we're going to go ahead into some sight reading. So there's a page, I'm not going to go over it because some of you, it might be a review, but there's a page that shows all the different rhythms that you can see, quarter notes, eighth notes, and this is what numbers they would fall on if you're speaking with numbers. You've got your 16th notes, you've got your 16th note combinations, you've got triplets, you've got 8th note, 16th note combinations, and then you've got 2 pages of sight reading. The first page is easier and the second page is harder, and they gradually get more difficult. So I'll just pick one, and I'm going to follow along with the cursor as I say it. So we'll start with number 3. All right, I'm going to count us in. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, E and a 2, 3, triplet, 1, and 3, E and a 4, 1, and 4. All right, we'll do another one. We'll go down here to number 8. 1, 2, ready, go. 1 E and a 2, 3 and 4, and triplet, 2, 3, triplet, 2 E and a 3, 1, 3, and 2, 3 and a 4. Now I kind of stumbled over that, but the most important thing as well is if you mess up on a number, if you mess up on a ta, ti, ti, ticka, ticka, keep going. Don't stop. If I had on this last measure gone 2, 2, 3 E and a 4, I would have missed points for that. Stumbling over the T and kind of saying 3 E and a, I still would get full points. Honestly, saying the right number at the right time is not how you get the points, simply saying something at the right time. So you could even, I'll pick the last two measures of number 9. You could even mess up on all the numbers and have 1 and 2E and a 4 and 7, 1, 5 and a. Now that was poor example because of the triplet, and 7 had 2 consonants. But you really could say any numbers, and as long as you say them at the right time, you'll get it right. Okay, let's do 1 or 2 more difficult, and then you can go practice all of these. All right, we'll do number 16. So we've got some combinations here. We've got a bunch more rests. Remember, if you're doing this for an audition, you get to practice for 30 seconds first. All right, 1, 2, ready, go. 1, triplet, 3, and 1, and 2, and 1, 3E and 4, and a 1, 2, and 4, triplet, 2, 3. I almost stumbled right there. But you can kind of see I am like bobbing my head to keep time. Usually if I'm not on camera, I'd be patting my knee or something with the beat. All right, let's do one more. Let's go to the that last one doesn't look any harder than the one we just did. So you see, once you know how to do it, you can do it anytime. But we'll do number 20. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, triplet, 4, 1, and a 2E and 3E and a 4, and 1, 2, 4, 1, and 3, triplet, 1, 4. All right, they even have some tips on here. If an entire line looks intimidating, use your thumb to block out everything except one measure at a time, and do it at whatever pace you need to in order to be successful. For those auditions, they're not actually giving you a specific tempo that you have to do. And second tip, just for practice, don't go crazy with tempo, but go for slow and steady, and then work your way up to 60 beats per mile, where it would likely be expected at the audition. All right, so happy practicing. Sight reading is difficult, but it's such a necessary skill. Happy Thursday, everybody.